Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another show of Feast of Films Theatre, today starring Matthew Black and Ethan R. Hill. There, that's the intro.
Oh, yeah. Classic. Classic. What's going on, my fellow movie fans? Welcome back to another episode of A Feast of Films. This is episode 17, part 1. I'm Matt Black, and with me, as always, is...
Ethan R. Hill.
What's going on, buddy?
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm all right. It's another lovely day, lovely night.
It's a lovely night.
Another lovely week of watching movies and thinking about movies and writing movies and lots of movies.
Do you
lots
sleep?
and lots
Do you
of
sleep
movies.
with movies? Sleeping with movies?
I mean, like not with them. Like I have a TV in my room, and I have like I watch TV shows before I go to bed, which is probably terrible for me. I definitely probably shouldn't do that because everyone tells me not to do that, but I definitely do. So technically, I don't sleep with them, but they are there. They are present with me
In the room, in your soul,
in the room,
in
Yep.
your dreams.
Right now, it's been the Batman animated series is what I've been watching
Ooh.
on Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's amazing.
That's nice.
Although, I've been getting to some weird there's episodes that have really great animation,
right,
and really great stories, and there's episodes that have really great animation, really bad stories, and there's ones that have really bad animation, good stories, and I've gotten some with some really good stories. I'm like, oh, I'm invested, but then the way they drop Batman's face, they put extra lines on it.
Right.
And just really weird looking expressions and the way his cowl is sitting on his nose, and I'm like,
you're just like, huh?
I'm this is what? Why'd they approve that? But I know why they approved it, because time and money. But no, that just looks weird. And some angles they put him at too. It's an animated show. You can choose the angles, but for some reason, some of the angles they choose are when you turn your camera on your phone,
right,
and it's facing you and it's underneath. That's some of the shots I've seen are almost close up underneath shots face of of Batman's face. It's just weird. It's just weird, and I don't know why they do it, but overall, it's a show from the 90s. I'm enjoying it. It's a good sleepy time show. Not too traumatizing.
Yeah, sounds like it. It's like an awesome trip down nostalgia lane, right? At the end of the day, watching some of those old things, it's maybe all the animations or all the graphics or the action or the battles, maybe some of that stuff doesn't always live up to what we remember it, but it's still just great to go down nostalgia lane just for a nice little stroll. And that's exactly what we're gonna do today, isn't it? We're talking about the best films of 2011, and we got some Halloween/horror questions of the day coming up for you guys. So it's gonna be a really fun episode, 2011. Also, quick reminder, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can also find the podcast on other podcast apps like Google Podcasts, Spotify, I think around Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
A couple
Apple
other
Podcast.
random ones. Yeah. So wherever you listen to podcasts, just type in A Feast of Films and you may just find us. Or you won't.
Just look for
and check for another one. Check another app.
Just look for our dumb animated faces, and you'll be on the right path.
Exactly. So if you're watching on YouTube and you just want to listen to the audio version, which I guess is still technically YouTube, just without the faces and whatever.
Man,
then go check out the apps. Go check out the apps. They're there. It's there.
At the risk of throwing you into the same boat as me, but I just get shook every time I look at our animated heads and go we don't look that good in real life, too. I just see it and I'm like,
what? That's why I love those animated heads. You know what I was gonna say? I was like, okay, you know what? I'll say it just because we're all family here, right, guys? I was gonna say I love animated head. I was like, that's gonna sound terrible. So then I retract that, and then I told you anyway. So reversal on the reversal of that whole situation. But no, why I love those animated heads because I'm like, man, they look better than we ever will. So maybe one day we'll show
we need
our
to
face. Maybe.
What we need to do is we just need to animate those heads, and then we can just
there you go. That's money.
We can just skip over this whole desire of putting our own faces on film and scaring
That's
away
money
our
we
two
don't
viewers.
have. Money, money, money. Anyway, yeah, always great. I'm excited to talk about another episode of films from another great year, 2011. One of the things I actually found when I was like looking through like the list of 2011 and all the movies, and you can tell me if you also feel this way or what your thoughts were, but there were so many movies that I was like, wait, that came out in 2011? No
Right?
freaking way. Like a lot of these movies don't feel as old as they actually are. Now, obviously, like Captain America and Thor, I was like, okay, I already knew those were 2011 because that's how you track the MCU or whatever. So, like,
But
those,
then you look at
no
the movies.
surprise. But some of the movies in there, I was like, there's no way that came out that long ago. Like, it doesn't feel like it came
Well,
out
I think
almost 10 years ago.
I think that's almost an MCU effect, though. I think it's like when you look at the MCU films, you're like, oh, that's when that is, and you kind of forget what else came out except for
Other,
those
like,
movies,
what's
and
around
then you're
it.
like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, that didn't come out before the MCU was a thing. Like, holy crap, like because the
Yeah.
MCU as a whole, like again, it's been around since 2008. It feels
Yeah,
like it's a lot more
2008.
recent than that, though.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. That's 12 years.
Yep.
And like, I don't know why. I don't know why it feels like that, but like, it just doesn't feel like that much time has passed with it. And I think that's kind of what messes up these years. It's the same thing when we were covering like the years that the new Star Wars sequels were coming out.
Right.
It was the same thing. And then as soon as we got past that block for a little while, it didn't feel
Things kind of felt like
quite as
in normal
recent.
place. Yeah.
Yeah. And
In
then
their
now,
spot.
because we have the early years of the MCU, I think that's going to throw us off until we're past that. And then, dude, I'm really curious what's going to happen when we get to like the mid to early 2000s. I have no idea. Like,
Dude,
what are we
or
going to
like
talk about?
the 90s, I'm going to be like, what? That came out in the 90s? What are you talking about, man? Like, no freaking way.
I'm
Even
also
like,
curious about when we get to like before we were born movies. It's like,
yes,
oh,
yes, yes. Like, oh, I love that movie. What? It came out before I was born? No freaking way.
but I grew
Because
up
that,
watching this.
well, yeah, and that's kind of what happens, right? You grow up watching these movies. And at the time, you don't realize they actually came out like years before you actually even graced the planet, which is hilarious. Which I always find super funny. I was like,
Before you
wait,
were
this
even a
movie's
thought.
older than me? Like, what? That's crazy. One of the movies, it's not like my favorite pick or anything, but I just kind of want one of the movies that was most surprising to me, I think, was like Harry Potter and like the Deathly Hollows Part 2. I was like, what? The
Yeah,
Harry
that's when
Potter
it
movies
ended.
ended in 2011. I was like, I feel like they just
Yeah, like
ended
that's
like a
so
whole
long
like
ago.
5 years ago. Like I didn't feel like it was that long ago again. And I was like, but then but then all those other Harry Potter movies leading up to it came out so much more before that. And then you're like, well, yeah, I guess Daniel Radcliffe was just like a little wee kid. And I guess I was just a little wee kid too watching that. Like, I'm like, jeez, it doesn't feel like
Like,
that long
dude,
ago.
we
Though.
grew up with it.
Yeah, like literally.
Like we grew up like literally with the characters.
Yeah,
Like it was weird.
in the films. Yeah, yeah. Like my family right now is rewatching the Harry Potter films, and they just watched the first one last night, and I was like, oh wow, I can't believe how old this is. Like it just blew me away. And then to see Deathly Hollows Part 2 in 2011, I was like, it doesn't feel right, but time moves and it waits for no man or woman or child or donkey. It just
unless you,
moves along.
unless you're doing something really really boring. Then it waits.
Then you're stuck
and
in
it takes
eternity.
its
You're like,
time.
oh no, I have to get out of here.
But
But
no,
yeah,
a friend of mine shared a quote with me about that, and I got to look it up quickly.
what was the quote about?
Just about time, about how things go. And it's that there are basically it's a very simple one. It's just there are swift hours and very long seconds.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it is. Like, and that's
Yes.
but it's 100%. Like that's like true. Like I can't even argue that logic. Like, and it's not a really complete thought, but like
It's very
it's
true
like
though. It's very true. Sometimes hours go by. Like maybe it's like, yeah, it's been 10 minutes. Check your watch. Like, oh, it's been an hour. Watching a film, playing a game.
But which one's worse though? Is like when things are like what's worse though, when things go by so quickly, or when they just like when especially when it's a boring day and you're like, oh, that must have been like a half hour,
10
10 minutes.
seconds. Yeah, like 10 seconds into work. Like, geez, it must be almost lunchtime. Like, oh, I've only been here for 5 minutes? Son of a bitch. No,
Didn't
literally,
I just
both
check
are the
this?
worst. Both are the worst. Both are the worst. Because if you're having fun, you wouldn't want it to go by so quickly. And if you hate it, you would like for time to speed up. So it's like how we perceive time is honestly the most frustrating and annoying thing ever. Like, it's just so annoying. Like when you're doing an
It's
exercise and you have to
bizarre.
do it for like a minute, that minute feels like 10 minutes.
I saw a
You
meme
know what I
about that
mean?
too, where
It's
it's
just
like if you
like,
want to
homie,
slow down,
what?
the secret to slowing down time, and then it's just a picture of them doing a plank.
Yeah, like do some planks, man.
Suddenly, time goes on forever.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah. Well, speaking about time, let's get on with it, I guess. It is about time that we get on with
It's
it.
about time to move on.
Recovered segue. There we go. So
Wait, did
yes.
that movie come out in 2011? Hold on a tick.
What's
Hold on
that?
a tick.
What's that? What are you thinking?
Did In Time come out in 2011?
What is in time? I did not
It's
see
that
it, and I do
movie.
not
It's that
recommend it.
movie with Justin Timberlake where he like, yeah, that's a 2011 movie that I forgot existed till now. It's like a dystopian future where like people stop aging at 25, and then they get like to have extra time added on to them, but they don't age, and they all have like clocks in their arms and stuff like that. And it's a really cool concept, but it's such a weird movie that like I don't know if I recommend watching it, but like it's one of those dystopian future like kind of fun
Huh.
rides. But like it's interesting and it's really weird because it's like it's in the trailer it shows like cuz his mom is played by Olivia Wilde, but in the trailer it looked like that was his wife because you just saw
Because
him
you
and
stop
Olivia
aging.
Wilde together
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, well clearly they're in a romantic relationship." And it's like, "No, that's his mom." And then he gets involved with Amanda Seyfried in the trailer too, and it's also like, so wait, is he cheating on like what's going on? And then you watch the movie, and you're like, this makes sense and is a lot less interesting than I thought it would be. But it's still
I've
like
never even heard of that
conceptually,
movie. I
yeah,
don't
man.
even
It's
recognize it at all.
I think maybe if you saw the cover of it, you'd recognize it because it's in movie stores or discount bins all the time.
Huh.
But like honestly, if you can check it out, maybe I think you'd like the concept. I don't know how much you'd like the actual execution, but like the concept itself is pretty dope. It's basically well, it's kind of like Logan's Run, I guess, except for like you can add time on as opposed to like your life is just done at 30. So
Right.
like so but no, it was just one that I completely forgot existed until we started talking about time in 2011 and it's like, "Wait a second.
Did,
Hold on."
did that movie come out then? Oh, it did. Exciting times. Mm, I probably won't watch it though. I mean, I might, but we'll see.
I
Time
mean, there's so
is
many other
limited.
like look, man, there's so many other things to watch. I will not be offended if you do not watch In Time.
Yeah.
That is
Have you watched Darkest Hour yet? Because Ethan, I
I mean,
swear to God.
yeah, totally I watched
I've been trying to get
it.
Ethan to watch Darkest Hour since like episode 1.
No, it was episode 3, I'm pretty sure. Or
Okay, it
2.
was pretty close though. It's been months, man. I can't believe you haven't got on that. You haven't got on that. That's
It's
good. That's gonna be a
October.
10.
You
That's gonna be
don't
a 10.
watch.
That is going to be a 10-year-old movie by the time you get to it. And don't be like,
You know
it's
what? You know what?
October.
I
It's
will
time for
watch it.
horror movies.
I
Don't
will
give me
watch it
that
in
smack. Don't give me that smack.
I
You could have
will.
watched
I
it
will.
for August, September, July, June. There were months to check it out that weren't Halloween.
But it feels like a November movie.
Okay, I could see that. Actually, I
Yeah,
could see that.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Darkest Hour.
So
It seems like kind of like a movie
I've
you
just
watch
been
when like it
holding
gets
off.
dark at like 5. Yeah, no, I
I've
got you.
just well, it's a World War II movie.
Yep.
You gotta,
You know
remember its day
what?
and stuff.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay,
there you go. Yeah,
okay. I'm
that's
swayed.
Matt. Actually, that's the only reason I haven't watched
I
this because
am.
I've been totally
I am.
consciously waiting for November.
I am surprised how easily swayed I was at that point. I'm just
like,
like,
when
oh
you
yeah,
think
know
about
what?
it-
It does feel like a November movie. I was like, yeah, well, that's sad. Okay. Ah, Okay, so let's get on to 2011 films here. We've rambled on
Like,
enough. So this is part one. Like I said earlier, we're gonna be doing my best films, Ethan's question of the day, and then the next episode you'll find next week will be Ethan's best films of 2011 and my scare question of the day. So
and all I can say is my picks are so much better than Matt's
I'm
because
maybe,
they're just better movies. They're just
maybe,
better movies.
possibly. Who knows? Who knows? But we'll find out
I
here
mean,
right away. We'll let the people decide.
they're not going to decide. They're not going to tell us. They're too nice. They're not, they're going to be like, you guys both have valid opinions.
They're just
And
like,
then I'll
actually,
just be
all
like,
these movies suck. And I'll say, fair enough. You're probably right.
but can you tell me I'm pretty? Can you tell me I'm pretty, please?
Your animated head is pretty. That's what I'll say. I like that animated head. Oh, yeah.
I need
Damn
a
it, I
boost in
took the
self-esteem,
I knew-
please.
Oh, I knew it was coming. Okay, quit messing around here. Let's get to 2011. So, for my best films of 2011, I couldn't decide on one. Basically, here was my problem. So I'm sitting there, I'm going through the list, and I'm picking out different movies for my honorable mentions, just for my overall list of what were some really entertaining movies that I really enjoyed out of 2011. So I'm scrolling, pick a couple, write them down. At the end, I look through my list, and I realize there are none of these movies that like just immediately stand out to me. And that was my biggest problem. None of these movies immediately stood out to me. If you put all these movies on the floor and said, you have to pick a movie to watch, I would not be like, yes, this movie right freaking here is the movie we have to watch right now. And every other year I've had that movie. Every other year. I've probably had that between maybe one or two movies where this is like a must watch movie. 2011, not so much. 2011, none of the movies stuck out to me that were must watch. But what I did quite enjoy as I was scrolling and writing down film names and looking at them and trying to decide what was the best one was the memories that kind of came along with them. The nostalgia. For some reason in 2011, I got just a lot of great like movie memories. I really enjoyed myself at the theaters. I had a lot of fun. So I have a lot of really fun memories from that. So I guess that's kind of what's going to decide my best films. They're for slightly different reasons each one. But the three I picked were one, The Muppets, which honestly is just really entertaining. It's a great film in itself.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, one is the Muppets. One is the
The
Muppets.
Muppets. The Little Miss Muffet, if you would.
Little Miss Muppet. One is Fast Five is the second one. And Paranormal Activity 3, which I'm not saying, listen, before you guys freak out, I'm not saying Paranormal Activity 3 is the best movie of the year. I'm just saying it's one of my best because all these movies have these little stories, these little moments that kind of go along with them. So that's kind of what I want to talk about in my segment today. We'll talk about the movies,
You know,
but also kind of what's surrounding the movies and how the movies impact us and how the movies create memories. That we hold on to and get to experience for life. So that's also an important part of films.
this is gonna be like weird for me because, like, honestly, I don't remember where I was for most of 2011. I know I was in my first year of school. I think. Yeah, because I went. There's a couple movies that I saw with my roommates for the first movies that like first things we did together as a
Yeah.
group. But honestly, aside from that, like I don't remember most of. Well, I guess because halfway through school it turned into 2012. But like I don't remember most of where I was for 2011 when it comes to movies or watching movies in theaters. It's kind of weird. So I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, that happens though sometimes, right? Like, and I think for most of the films that I had for the other years, a lot of them I didn't have stories to go with. A lot of them, like, I barely remembered going to them or I barely remembered seeing them. There was a couple, like, significant ones, like Avengers or Infinity War or Endgame that were, like, very recent. But most of them, I was like, I remember seeing that movie and I just remember the movie. In 2011, for some reason, most of the movies, it's like I remember who I went with. I remember kind of like the situation surrounding that movie, which is kind of a weird thing, but that's like the magic of movies. You get the experience of the film, and also sometimes you just get the experience of the night or the event that kind of surrounded going to that movie. Minus the one time
Or the
where we
people.
went to Transformers and then I went to the wrong theater. I got a ticket for the wrong theater because our group of friends, I'm pretty sure I already told this before, our group of friends all were like, we're going to see Transformers too. They all got tickets. And I was like, what about me? And they're all like, yeah, we didn't tell you. And I was like, that's suspicious. Real sus over here, guys. Okay, I'll just buy my own. I'll
Well,
buy.
that's
They're like, you can still buy your own ticket. I was like, sure. What time? Got a ticket for the time. Showed up there, got in line, and we are waiting because obviously there's a long line for Transformers at the time. We get to the door, everyone's getting their tickets. They scan my ticket. They're like, actually, your theater's down there. I was like, the hell are you talking about? I'm here for like this 9:30 show. No, your theater's down there, sir. Look at my ticket. We're going into theater one. I'm auditorium like 4. I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, so I watched Transformers 2, which was in itself a terrible movie, but I watched Transformers 2 by myself next to some old sweaty dude. I was like, I hate this movie. I absolutely hate this movie. So there are moments where you have those little stories that surround the movies, but yeah, that one stuck out to me because it was just ultimately terrible. Ultimately terrible. Ah, all right. Should we get started here then?
yeah. I'm waiting for you. I thought
So
we didn't we start.
we did well. Yes. Okay. Sure. Let's talk about the Muppets first. That we'll go through we'll go through the 3 movies.
So
So
are
let's
you
start
saying
with
that it's time to start the music?
it's time to start the music. Blah, blah, blah,
It's
blah,
time to
blah.
light the lights. It's
The,
time to meet the Muppets
the
on the
Muppet
Muppet Show
Show
tonight.
tonight.
Bum, bum, bum.
I like the hecklers. They're my favorite.
Ah, Waldorf and Statler.
Yeah.
Man, you picked a great movie to talk about because I love the Muppets like so much. Like it was almost in my top 3 picks,
Yeah.
like almost, but like I haven't watched it in so long. But like I can't express to you how much like I love the Muppets, how much I loved that movie. Like I'm gonna let you talk about it because it's your pick, but like I'll have plenty to contribute on this because man, I still sing "Life's a Happy Song" in my car on a regular basis. Like,
Well, it's one of like it's the more significant pick out of my 3 picks, right? Like it's the one that for sure deserves to be in the best films category. The story around that actually very quickly because let's talk about this. I'll talk about the story really quickly first and my memory of the Muppets, and then we'll talk about the actual film and kind of get into it a little bit and dig into it from there. So this was 2011 was the time where I was just started dating my wife. She was my girlfriend,
aw,
obviously at the time, but like maybe that's why I remember so many times because I'm like, oh yeah, those was like a lot of dating, first date types of situations. I don't know, whatever. So I just started dating my wife, and I remember we were sitting down at the rental that she had that became kind of our rental for a lot of years afterwards, and it was like just this little room. It was like a living room, kitchen kind of thing, all in one. You know what those are? Just like one big open space, except it wasn't very big. It was just like normal as living room, but it had like a kitchen on the side kind of thing. So we're sitting down there, and I remember we are both sitting on her couch that she got from her grandma, and it was one of those old ass couches that kind of got like the teal fabric and then flowers all over them. Like it's like
yeah,
white and orange flower, like the old
yeah, I know
flowery
exactly what you're talking
couches. You know what
about.
I'm talking about with like the wooden trimming and stuff like that.
The nostalgia
The
couches, the
nostalgia,
'90s, the '90s couches.
like man, damn near like 70s. Like holy smokes! So we're sitting on this old couch, and this was her couch at the time. And so we're sitting there, and we're like, okay, it's Friday night. What are we gonna do? We should go watch a movie. Okay, scrolling through the movies, see what's on, and I'm listing off. Okay, there's this movie, this movie, this movie. Muppets at like 3:30 or like I guess not 3:30. That's not a good evening time, but it was like 7 or something like that. Muppets at 7. I turn to her. She looks at me. Her face like lit up. I was honestly taken back. I thought maybe I was getting stabbed or murdered. I wasn't sure what was going on. She was very excited. I wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. It was a complete toss up at that point. She was so excited, and then she just like lost it. Like, we have to go see the Muppets. We gotta go see the Muppets. Like, get us some tickets. Let's go see the Muppets. My wife absolutely loves the Muppets. She loves the Muppets. Like, we all grew up with them from one
Yeah.
point or another. Like, I'm not a diehard Muppets fan, but she loves the Muppets. Like, she loves them. Like, the kind of excitement I saw from you just now, like times 20. Like, she loves the Muppets. And that was the thing that just, that's one of the things like I love about her, that she has such this like child, not like child like naive or like um infantile,
Childlike
but like
wonder.
that childlike wonder, that childlike excitement, that's something that she loves from her childhood. Like, she still gets so excited about. Like, talk about Disneyland, she gets so excited about. And so to see that reaction, to be able to see that experience is just like, man, it just makes you feel good when you see someone love something so much. So of course we got tickets for the Muppets, right? Um, so we get our tickets, we get in the car, we drive across the bridge because we're on like Ruth Street. So the theater is just on the other side of the bridge, the Galaxy. Head down there and we're looking for parking, trying to find parking. I'm swearing at people because people keep taking the spots because there's no parking downtown ever, ever.
Why did they build a theater downtown and then
Because it was
charge for
like the
parking?
worst, the worst. Well, yeah. And the parking lot was
Matt,
full, so you had to like find street parking at that moment.
Matt, do
Um,
you remember the beautiful
this
time
was the
back when that
worst.
theater used? You remember that theater actually had 3 hour parking
Yes.
and it was great? And
Yes.
then for some reason, halfway through that, they got rid of it and just made it 2 or 4 hour parking.
Oh my god, yeah, it was so annoying. They're just like, wait, we can make more money if we do it this way. You either pay
and then
less, risk getting a ticket, or pay more. Like, you
and
buggers.
then that's when everyone started going there on Sundays because it was free parking
Free
everywhere
parking.
else.
Yeah, it was money, man. It was money. So anyway, I get mad. I'm like a road rage dude. Like, not like road. I'm not gonna get on like beat somebody, but I will yell at people from behind the car like all the time. My kid just like laughs at me all the time. She's like, "You need to chill out." I was like, "Well, this person needs to not be such a jackass." Anyway, so we find a parking spot. Finally, we get in there, get our popcorn, get our drinks, everything, get seated, and I'm just watching her because her excitement is electrifying. It is like static. If you touched her, you would get zapped. Man, that is the kind of excitement she had for this film. And just watching her expression through the film, that's one of the things I remember so much. Like, how much she loved it, how much it just gave her those nostalgic feels, how much it brought her back to her childhood. Kermit the Frog, Fozzie Bear, all these characters that she loved, it brought it all like just back for her. So that's my memory of going to see the Muppets with my girlfriend, now wife at the time. Um, and that's kind of what stuck out to me. That's the things that I remember. Like, it's the thing, that's a memory that will always stick with me. That excitement and just how much she loves the Muppets. And it still exists today. Like, if you talk about if like she has the option to watch the Muppets, she's gonna be watching the Muppets. And I nowadays probably decline more often than not just because we're not dating anymore. You know how that goes. It's like, ah, man, when we were dating, I totally take you that movie. Now I'm like, nah, we're gonna go. We should go see something else. But I don't mind the
I
Muppets. I
look,
just don't like love
look.
the Muppets. But
I put the effort in. I don't need to put effort in anymore,
yeah,
Matt.
I've already put my
That
effort
is
in.
a problem. That is a problem, and you need to change your attitude.
Yes, Ethan, I will try to do better. You're
You
absolutely
better.
right. You're absolutely right. No, I put an effort for
Good
things,
thing.
just not like
Good thing that I'm not.
Muppet things.
Good thing I'm
Muppet
7 hours away,
things.
man, or else I'd smack the crap out of you.
Just slap the hell out of you. You treat your Muppet loving wife better. You watch those movies, damn it. Come on,
If
man.
she wants a Kermit tattoo, you are gonna pay for that
You
Kermit
pay
tattoo.
for that shit. Listen, I just bought her like a Christmas tree from Costco's. It's not like an actual Christmas tree. It's like a because another thing she loves obviously is like Mickey Mouse and like Disney and stuff. I bought
Yeah.
her it's a decoration that's a Christmas tree, and it's got like inside the tree that kind of opens up. It has Mickey Mouse and all his friends on these little train tracks, and they just ride around the tree, and it does little Christmas songs. It's really nice, actually. It's a really nice
You
little
know,
ornament. I'll send you a video of it sometime. It's pretty great. This is from Costco.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad that you did this for your wife. I think that's great and wonderful. But it is October, Matt. It is
Listen-
October. It is too early to be talking about Christmas
No,
trees
no,
and
no. She
Christmas.
no my you do not mess with again. My wife, it's like Muppets, Disney, Christmas. Don't F with her, man. Like don't even try.
It is
Don't even try.
October. It is October.
Listen, she went to
Everything needs its
Costco.
time.
She went to Costco to go get groceries. She took all the time to park. She took all the time to go in. She had her mask. She was all COVID protected and stuff. She's getting her groceries. She saw this Christmas tree. So I sent her some money. No, you can grab it, honey. You can grab it. Listen, it's brownie points, man, and she loves the
Again,
tree.
it's a nice
And
thing.
it's
It is
it's a
a
great
nice
thing.
thing. I'm really happy you did it for your wife. I think that's great, and that's not what I'm arguing about. I'm just saying it's October. It's like when I went to Walmart and they had
Blame
like pumpkins
Costco.
out front, and I'm like, I texted my friend because I went to Walmart and they had pumpkins out front. And this is September, and I'm like, okay, Walmart needs to cool their jets. And then I walk inside, and there's a big inflatable clown arch with a bunch of Halloween candy and decorations up. And I sent a picture of that, and I'm like, it is September 22nd. No,
Let's take it down. So you're opposed to like all early advancements of holidays.
I think you can appreciate them, but like again, it's subtlety. It's subtlety. You know, like it's everything has its time, everything has its place, and it's about taking that time and breathing. Because otherwise, man, you get
You know
overwhelmed.
what though? The
You
stores,
get way
the
overwhelmed.
stores are smart. They know everybody isn't gonna buy it, but they know there's a few of those Halloween lovers, those Christmas lovers who are like, screw that, I'm in the season now. Give me that candy. Give me that like Christmas cake. I forgot. What do people eat at Christmas? I don't know. Ice cream. Give me some of that Christmas cane ice cream. I want it all right now. So they're pretty smart because they know who they're targeting at least with that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, no, that was my memory of the Muppets. Um, just how much my wife, just how much my wife loved it. So that's kind of always something that'll be with me for
I
sure.
think that
And that's
I think that's great.
and that's the nice thing about movies too. That's kind of what I was talking about before, right? Um, not only do I get to enjoy the movie and I have the memory of the movie and how much that actually I really enjoyed the Muppets. Just to point out, even though I'm not like the biggest Muppets fan, the Muppets, the one with like Jason Segel, that's his name, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Um, that is actually a fantastic movie and the best Muppets movie I've seen so far. I'm not a big fan of the older movies. I'm not a big fan of that original old movie. I really enjoyed this one. This was a really, really well done film that wasn't just for Muppet fans. Anyone could love it, anyone could enjoy it. So, number
one
one, I really
it
did enjoy the film, but it was, and I have that memory of it, but it was the experience. It's that memory of just how happy this woman got. My wife got. I was gonna say girl. I was like, you say girl nowadays? I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say half the time. But how excited my wife got just to go see the Muppets, and for me, I would have paid any price for that. It would have been worth it. So super glad I still get to have that memory. Now to the actual Muppets film. Like I said, fantastic. I loved the music. I loved the story. How we're like
yeah.
following along this like new Muppet. Like it wasn't like, and that's I think where it was great for people who weren't into Muppets at the time because the story angle they took, they just didn't drop you into like the whole here's the whole Muppet thing. Like like just jump on in there. You were introduced slowly, bit by bit, through the eyes of this new Muppet character who just also was a Muppet and loved the Muppets. I don't exactly remember how that all worked, but he was like Jason Segel's, was he brother or like stepbrother or something?
No, they were brothers, but one came out a Muppet, and basically
Yeah,
he
that's
he
right.
was always he was always wondering like why he didn't fit in,
Yeah,
and then he saw the Muppets on TV, and he's like, this is where I
yeah.
belong. Like I belong with them, and he loves them so much that his brother's like, you know what? I'm gonna take you. We're gonna go to
Yeah.
Hollywood. Me and my fiance, or is it fiance or
I'm pretty
girlfriend? I
sure it
can't
was like,
remember.
yeah, it was something like that.
Girlfriend, 'cause she wanted to get married, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna go to Hollywood, and like you can come with
Was
us. We'll
that
go
Amy
see the
Adams? I think that
Muppets.
was Amy Adams,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and like that's I don't know. I really liked that, and I really liked just that story of brotherly love, but also having to learn like when there is time to separate where you need to go your separate ways and you need to go on your own paths as
Yeah.
well. Like I think that was a really good
Like
message.
it had really great themes. The music was awesome. And like I said, it was such a great entry point into the Muppets like franchise for someone who it's like obviously we all grew up with Sesame Street, we grew up with the Muppets, we grew up with um uh what's that one called? Fraggle Rock, right?
Oh my
Down
goodness.
Fraggle Rock. Oh man, that actually I probably watched that more than not, but it freaked me out, so that's probably why I don't really like the Muppets. It was like just
Wait,
kind of
did the
weird.
Jim Henson Muppets freak you out? Like
Not the
including like
Muppets, but the
Sesame Street
Fraggle
and
Rock
stuff?
stuff. The Fraggle Rock. For some reason, there's something about the aesthetic of that show that was just kind of like it
Well, it
freaked me out
could
a
be
little
like the
bit.
way that the puppet, because the shape of the face is very different from regular Muppets,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
It was a little different, but anyway, there's something about it that kind of freaked me out as a kid. Um, but yeah, no, like we grew up with them, but just to be able to go in there and not being this huge fan of the Muppets, but to get to experience the story, the themes, the music, the characters, and like kind of have through the eyes of this new Muppet character, be able to be reintroduced and get to get that old feeling back of all the Muppets, and that was great. So it was a really well made, well produced, well done film. Its sequels after that, Muppets Most Wanted, not that great. Didn't like it. Didn't really like it at all. I was like, oh, I was disappointed because I saw obviously the first one, so I was excited to see the second one. Didn't like the second one, but this first one though,
yeah, the
money,
second
man,
one was less to be
money,
desired.
money. So, anything else to say about the Muppets on your end?
Oh man, I got so many things to
Yeah,
say
go
about
ahead,
the
man.
Muppet. Like it's
I can tell
so the
you
Muppets
also
for
love the
me
Muppets. So,
was honestly it's for me it's something I grew up with. Like I was very much always watching something with the Muppets. Like my aunt always had VHS tapes with like some clips from the episodes. But there was a VHS tape with they did a Muppet Classics Theater or something like that, where they reenacted like old literature stories and stuff,
right.
like King Midas, the Three Little Pigs. We grew up watching the Muppet Show, the Muppet movies, Muppets from Space. Like the Muppets have been like in my life from well them being in Sesame Street, from them just being in their own stuff, from like everything. Like I just that is what I grew up with. Like that was very much where a lot of my sense of humor came from as well. Like so the Muppets really shaped me as a person
Mhm.
growing up. And so when there, wasn't the Muppets for a very long time, and then suddenly 2011, they announced this movie. I'm like, oh, the Muppets are back. Okay, all right.
I'm in.
And then yeah, I know I saw it in theaters. I can't remember when and where. I feel like it was only at Center Cinema. Like those were one of the smaller theaters. Excuse me.
Classic.
Um, but I remember it being with a lot of like me, a couple friends, and like I feel bad because I can't remember which friends. It was me and a couple friends,
they,
and
they weren't important to the story. We were there for the Muppets. Let's just be clear.
honestly, like
Let's be
it's
clear.
gonna sound bad, but like 100%, I was there for the
F
Muppets. Like
these
I could have
guys.
gone by myself, but then it was just us and like a bunch of kids were there. But I didn't care. Like it was just fun,
Yeah.
and I just remember I laughed basically the whole way through, teared up a bit. Like it has such a range of emotions in it too. Um, but the memory that I actually have with that, out of all of it, is actually in college. I had the Blu-ray of it and the DVD, and we actually like during our drafting classes and stuff like that, or drafting homework, we'd all hang out in the same room, and there was a projector screen that we could hook our computers up to.
Right.
And so I brought in a bunch of movies, and one of those movies was the Muppets, and we all just as a class just watched the Muppets just because while we were all working, and like that was fun.
That's pretty sweet.
But honestly, I think the problem I have with the sequel is it was missing the heart
Yeah.
that the first one had. And I think a lot of that came from because Jason Segel was a huge, from what
Part
I
of that.
understand, he was a
Yeah.
huge part of that first
Yeah.
one, and he
Huge.
loves the Muppets.
Yeah.
And the second one, you could tell it felt like there wasn't that love for the Muppets, that it was more of a, let's just try and cash in on this because we can.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, from what I understand, that's kind of how a lot of people have been feeling about more recent Muppet material, is it's not really true to what the Muppets are. and more so just kind of feels like it's just trying to be the Muppets.
Something else.
It's just
Well, trying to
it's
be the
trying to be
Muppets without being the Muppets.
being the
Instead,
Muppets,
just
yeah.
being the Muppets. Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't watched anything past Most Wanted, so like there's a chance that maybe the new stuff is great, and I'm just ill informed. But anything I've seen has just not been
Yeah.
like that movie in 2011 was like the last time the Muppets were the Muppets for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it just that film struck such a chord, and I think with Jason Segel in there, again, like it just had such a genuine feeling to it. Like I think that's what it is. Like it had a lot of heart, but it was so genuine. Like it didn't feel put on. It didn't feel like a film. Like it didn't feel fake. Like it felt real. Like you could feel the characters' genuine love for the Muppets in the music
One, it
and
was
how the characters moved, how they talked, and like that one scene. I can't remember what was it. Was it when they told the little Muppet kid they were going to see the Muppets or what? I can't remember what it was, but he was just like running. There's like one scene where he's like, and like they were going somewhere and it just kept like changing the backgrounds
it's
and he's sitting there just screaming because he couldn't believe it. Was
no,
that
I
when he
can't
met
remember
like
either.
Kermit or something? It was something like that.
No, it's when he finds out that the oil baron is gonna destroy the Muppet Theater,
Oh, right, yeah,
and
yeah.
he
And
freaks
he just
out, and
freaks out, and then
yeah.
they're like driving around, taking him places, and he's just sitting there screaming, like yeah, like it was just so genuinely funny, charming. The emotion, like it was genuine, and Most
Even like the
Wanted was
self-aware
just
humor.
not. It was not.
The funny part about that, and I've seen videos point this out, so this is an original notice. This is something that was pointed out to me. The person who voiced Constantine in so the evil Kermit replica in
Okay.
Most
Yep.
Wanted
Yeah.
is now the voice actor for Kermit because they fired the original voice actor for Kermit. Like, dude, they're just read a little bit into like the whole thing that went down with like the old voice for Kermit and the new guy, and like there's some shady stuff, man. And I don't know who to believe or what side to be on, but it is weird.
The, yeah, show business is shady as hell, man. Well,
What's a lot
actually,
of like
most business is shady as hell, especially when you get up to those kind of
what's
levels and you're talking that much money.
it's a lot of like the Henson family is saying that the old voice actor didn't embody what Kermit was, but that guy's been voicing Kermit for like a long
That dude
time.
is Kermit.
So
Like,
it's like, and that's how a lot of fans feel as
yeah,
well. And so it's really, I don't know, man. I don't know where I land on that argument because it's such a like I'm not there. I can't really comment much because I'm not a part of that situation
yeah.
at all. I can say I prefer the old voice to the new one, and a lot of people do. But at the end of the day, we don't know how much problems were being caused behind the scenes by the old voice actor, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tricky thing to navigate. But
Honestly,
it's super in your free time, man. Just look into it because it's just you'll be confused as to how complicated
oh, it sounds like something
hiring
that's just
someone to
gonna
voice a
frustrate me.
cartoon character.
Honestly, that type of stuff makes me so mad. Like it just irks me, cause you just never know who to trust. You never know who to be loyal to. Like loyalty is like a dead thing. And especially when you're talking
Yep.
about companies or things like that or organizations, honestly, all it takes is like one change of leadership and that one person doesn't like this person, that person's gone. You know what I mean? Like they'll find a reason. If they want you out at the end of the day, they can find a reason. So maybe it was something like that. Who knows? I don't know. That sounds sketchy as hell though. Sketchy as hell.
It's
And
as
like
I meant,
just such a
it's a
beloved
ride.
actor. Like it's so weird because if you're the voice of Kermit the Frog, like you should be untouchable. Like that, I mean,
But I
besides
mean,
doing
like
something incredibly
honestly,
terrible, you know?
that's honestly a big problem though. Is a lot of voice actors aren't viewed as untouchable because at the end of the day, their face isn't tied to that
I
character. It's
guess.
just their voice.
Yeah.
It's
Which can
dude.
be
It's actually
replicated.
well. That's where I want to say even just a few years ago there was a huge strike and fallout in like Hollywood and stuff like that with voice actors. And actually, if you look at it more and more, and it's been going on for a while, but there's a lot less specifically voice actors, and there's a lot more celebrities who are doing voice acting.
Hmm.
and like there's a noticeable shift in that. And like I don't know, I have very strong opinions about voice actors, and I don't think that they get enough credit or enough love or respect. I really think that they kind of get underrepresented and under acknowledged
For sure.
and underpaid in the
Yeah.
industry, because what they do is it's so much different than acting on
Yeah.
screen. A lot of people don't think so, but it is,
Well, all you
because you're
have is
not
your voice. That's it.
exactly, and you all you have is your voice to put on an amazing performance. And a lot of times too, you are putting on the physicality, but no one's gonna see that.
Yeah.
But it also allows you to have a bigger voice, because like as soon as you change your physicality when you're playing a role, you also don't have to worry about looking silly. You can look as ridiculous as possible saying lines. You have to be like, oh, do I look good too while doing this? Like it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's just it's such an underappreciated art form, I find.
A
And
different
it's just kind of
craft.
like that's where honestly, like, if anyone's looking for a good documentary on voice acting, everyone should look at I Know That Voice. It is phenomenal.
Huh. Never heard of it. Should check it out.
It's actually, I think it's produced by John DiMaggio. It's like the guy who voices Bender in Futurama.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like him and a bunch of his voice actor friends all got together and they did this documentary on like
Oh, nice.
voice acting, and it's amazing. Like it's one of the top documentaries I've ever seen. Like it's so good. But I mean, again, you'd say the same thing about Mickey Mouse being untouchable, but I mean, his voice actor has changed how many times?
That's true. I mean, sometimes it comes
Goofy's
with
gonna be-
age, right? Like if they're there forever, that's one thing that happens.
Well, and
For
a lot of them do go until death. Especially,
Yeah.
well, that's the thing in the old ways of doing thing. 100%, it was till death. Like that's what happened with Fred Flintstone. First, the guy didn't get replaced until he died.
Yeah.
And then he got replaced by the guy who provided Fred Flintstone's singing voice. So it's like, okay, so it's a guy who was already doing a Fred Flintstone impression. Cool.
Yeah.
And it's actually really funny to look at the guy who's currently playing Fred Flintstone, because it's the same voice actor as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars series.
Oh, James Arnold Taylor.
Yeah. So you know what he looks like, right?
Yeah.
He's like a skinny little
He
guy.
is nothing like Fred Flintstone.
But his Fred that's all the Fred you hear, like even in Family Guy and like anywhere where Fred pops up.
Yeah.
That's him. And that's a great impression of Fred Flintstone. That's a great voice.
Damn.
Like, and when you watch him doing videos of it, he's just this skinny little guy
Yeah,
who just
he's
suddenly puffs
super
up his
skinny,
chest
yeah,
and then
yeah.
just like Barney. Like it's amazing. I love it.
Huh.
Like it's so good, man. Man, I could just go on for hours about voice acting. Like it's again, it's a craft that is so underappreciated and underloved. And then puppetry on top of it too, though.
Yeah.
Like most of these voice actors are also doing the puppet work as well. Like
Underneath,
it's crazy. It's amazing. And it's just, and again, the fact that they've changed these pieces of felt into living, breathing characters.
That you become emotionally attached to? Yeah.
Can you name the voice actor of Kermit the Frog?
No.
You just know him as Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
The only one people can really name is Jim Henson.
Frank Oz.
Who did Frank Oz voice?
Yoda. Is it Grover? I can't remember. One of the other Sesame Street people.
I think he
do, or
did
a couple
Grover.
of the Sesame Street
But
people, yeah.
Dude, he does Miss Piggy. He does Fozzie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's Gonzo, or is Gonzo a different guy?
I don't remember.
That's the
Frank
thing,
Oz
like-
does like a whole bunch of them.
But the main reason you know those two is they did the main characters, but they also went into directing too. They also they directed the movies. It's man, like a lot of these people who are puppeteers and voice actors, they don't get credit for what they do. But I think that's part of the magic of doing that stuff, though.
Yeah.
Is that you're not the face of that. You're
totally
bringing
the
a character to
You're
life,
totally the character. Yeah.
and you're bringing this cartoon or this piece of fabric or anything like that to life, especially for kids. Where, well, again, even Tom Hanks not getting recognized as Woody is amazing. There's a story where like kids, like says like kids don't recognize him at all as Woody.
Yeah.
And his parents are like, no, their parents are like, oh no, like that's Woody and stuff like that. So he always tells the kids to like, close your eyes. And then he starts talking in Woody's
Woody,
voice, and
yeah.
then suddenly they're like, oh my goodness. Like it's, and that's a credit to great voice acting and
Yeah,
great voice characterization. Again, when you've separated yourself from yourself and you've become that character.
totally agree. And there's so much more to voice acting than just a funny voice. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, oh, you just make a funny voice, easy peasy. Like there's so much more to it, and you touched on a
Well, it's
lot of
like,
those different things there as well. But it's just a craft in its own right. And a lot of the
what's
times, like you
Mel.
said, they're bringing a lot of Hollywood actors to a lot of voice acting, but like you definitely missed there's something missed from having like a professional, like this is their single craft that they work on, voice actor, compared to like bringing Tom Holland in to voice a dog or something, or a chicken, you know what I mean? Like there's two different results that you're definitely going to be getting performance
Well, then
wise.
you have some you have some actors who have the energy. Like Michael J. Fox is one that comes to mind. Like he always was a very energetic performer and still is. And so when he switched to voice acting, like his voice, you still recognize it as Michael J. Fox, but like it works because he voiced Stuart Little.
Yeah,
And but it was never like listening to that. I'm never like, oh, that's Marty. That's Michael J. Fox. It's like no, that's Stuart Little
yeah.
because he has that life and that energy behind him. I think he was also in Homeward Bound. I want to say he played Chance.
Oh, that would make sense.
Again,
I'm not sure.
and again,
Yeah,
you don't think about it because it's again
it's
it's
just the
that that's the
character. Yeah,
character,
yeah.
right? Like, and that's one of my favorite anecdotes from voice acting though. Like this is a whole side tangent that has nothing to do with like the Muppets necessarily, but um Mel Blanc was talking, like Mel Blanc's the guy who voiced like Bugs Bunny and all the original Looney Tunes. That was
Oh,
all him. It
okay.
was just all one guy. It was like one guy, and then they hired like someone to do Granny. And there's that famous duck season, rabbit season sketch. And at one point, Daffy and Bugs pretend to be each other. So he had to do an impression of Daffy doing an impression of
Nah,
Bugs,
just
and then do
layered.
an impression of Bugs doing an impression of
Yeah.
Daffy. And he's like, it was bonkers. It's super weird when you have to be a voice actor doing an impression of, especially when it's all you.
When you're
You have
doing
to
an
be you
impression of you.
impersonating you impersonating
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and like, and then do the reverse of that, where it's you impersonating you impersonating you. And like again, man, it's such a craft, and it just gets ignored and like tossed by the wayside. But then the people who love it love it. The people who are invested in voice acting are obsessed with it, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's so and like again, like the Muppets, it is just it's magic. It's straight up magic because again, to bring it back to that, these people brought these fictional characters, these toys into being real beings that kids just get excited when they see.
Yeah.
Or when there's interviews, the fact that there's interviews not with Jim Henson but with Kermit the
With Kermit the
Frog.
Frog, with the characters themselves, yeah.
Well, I think there was a panel a while ago, and it was just it's the Muppets sitting at a table talking to like the audience, and there's no puppet. You don't see any
That's awesome.
puppeteers. You don't see anyone
Yeah.
behind them.
It's
Like
great.
there's one I think. I want to say Miss Piggy threw a jab at Fox News in one of them,
Oh, that wouldn't be
and
surprising.
And then Kermit just like, oh, we're gonna get in trouble for that.
He's like,
Like it's
smooth
amazing.
move, piggy. Smooth move. I gotta say though, one of the communities one of the communities one of the communities that do really appreciate voice actors is gaming. Like, because that's really all the actors you have for gaming. You know what I mean? And a lot of the
Hmm.
voice actors do a lot of the physicality and the motion captures and all those things for it. But like that is one
But
community
even
that loves voice actors and where voice actors really become very prominent,
but even
especially
then,
their lead characters.
if you look at a lot of newer video games, though, there are more and more celebrities being brought over,
Man, not too many though. Not too
more
many.
than there was.
Mm, I wouldn't
And
say
then there's
by
the good
any
old.
significant amount. Like most of them are still, most of them, if you're talking about celebrities, like a lot of them are celebrity voice actors kind of thing who have become the height of their group there. Like Nolan North, Troy Baker, huge, 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 huge in so many different games, so many different games. Those guys get into a lot of things, but I wouldn't say there's a lot of like Hollywood actors getting into do gaming voices. At least not a lot. Like every once in a while one will pop up, but nothing significant. Nothing significant.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay,
Let me
give me
do
some
some research
examples
on
here. Prove me wrong
it.
then. Cuz I'm thinking
Uh,
off the top of my head and I'm not thinking of any like
Ellen Page, Willem
A-listers
Dafoe,
like
Keanu
people coming in.
Reeves. Ellen Page, Willem Dafoe, Keanu Reeves, the entire cast of Until Dawn. Um,
I don't know what Until Dawn is. I
uh,
didn't play that.
it's a beautiful horror game. It's amazing. It's like you play as these kids up at a cabin, and it's basically a survival horror game where you all have to like try and figure out what's going on, and like it's messed. I can't really say much without giving
Okay,
away
yeah,
much, but like
sorry, go ahead.
um
I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish.
Rami Malek's in it, Hayden Panettiere. Um,
Yeah, I
trying to
wouldn't
think of
call those
other.
guys like Rami now, but I'm sure at the time that game came out, Rami was not. He was not A
Um,
class. Like a lot, you'll get a lot of like lower class, but you're not gonna get like Will Smith rolling up in there. Keanu
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion has been in gaming for a long time though.
I mean, like, true, yeah.
For a long time,
Um,
he's been in gaming. And Keanu Reeves is I believe that's more of a marketing thing more than anything. Like, man, we got Keanu Reeves in our game. Like, hell yeah, why wouldn't you do that? That makes sense. That's kind of like the only one I can think of really, off top of my head. But Willem Dafoe was in. He's done games. That James Bond game that I was talking about, like way back in the day, he was in that. So they sprinkle in every once in a while. I'm not saying they're non-existent. I'm just saying it's not like, wow, there's all of a sudden a staggering amount of A-list actors rolling up in here.
I don't know. I don't play video games because I'm cool and have a life.
There we
Aha,
go.
Matt, zing.
Zinger.
Sorry to
Zinger.
anybody. Sorry to anybody who plays video games. I don't think you
I
guys
play
don't have
video
lives.
games from time to time.
I do too. I enjoy video games, but like for me, it's I think there is that's where a lot of voice actors have gone is to video games.
Yeah,
But
like,
also, I think
yeah.
it just I don't know. It just seems like it's a weird move. Like when the movie Scoob came out, and they have all the voice actors who've been playing the Scooby Doo characters for how long, and they all just got replaced by celebrities.
Yeah.
Like that's a weird move. Like why would you have a pre-established voice cast that you could probably pay less than these celebrities? You're telling me Frank Welker costs more than Zac Efron?
Probably not.
I don't think so,
You
but
could
maybe
probably
I'm
save
wrong.
money. But yeah, no, most of these guys get brought in mainly for marketing purposes above all things, right? So that they have their name attached to it. Like it's more of a marketing tool than it is about the money kind of thing. It's about hoping to draw in more people. But again, like they're not going to do as good of a job as someone who's a hired, seasoned, professional. This is their craft voice actor. At the end of the day, they're just
Oh,
not going to do
100%.
as good of a job. Um, but yeah, but you know, all series, everything kind of at some point in time brings in big celebrities.
My main thing though with the Muppets, my main thing with this movie is it recaptured what the Muppets were for all those years,
Yeah,
and it just it found its footing again, and it just I don't know it gave hope and optimism for what the Muppets could become, and then it was quickly dashed in the years that followed, but it was I don't know, as someone who loved the Muppets, it was so good to go back to the theaters and get to actually see a Muppet movie in theaters
yeah,
and just love it.
yeah.
Like you made a good pick for 2011, man.
Man, and like I totally agree. Like it's one of those feel good movies, kind of like Wreck It Ralph, like we talked about last episode,
Yeah.
or like part one of last episode. But it's just a really feel good movie, and I got some feel good memories for it. So it's like win win. I love the Muppets. It was great. It was fantastic. It was such a good
Yeah.
movie call. 2011. 2011. All right, so something a little less heartwarming, a little more
A little less
ball
family
busting.
friendly.
Fast Five. Fast Five. Obviously, now we're getting to the point where it's like, again, this isn't like the best movie ever, but like Fast Five was really good, especially when you're considering the Fast and Furious franchise and where it was at that point. I think
Yeah.
they had the fourth one just came out not too long before that. Fast and Furious, or
Yeah,
Fast and
Fast and
Furious.
Furious.
God, like the naming things were so annoying. I wasn't sure if number four when I watched it, if this was some sort of weird reboot, semi reboot. It was so confusing because it was
I
pretty
think
much
it
the
was
same storyline. Like at least with Paul Walker's character, it seemed like it. I was like, is this supposed to be a reboot? I'm so confused.
I think it was a soft reboot, and again, I'm speaking as someone who have only seen one, two, half of three, and seven.
Yeah, like
From what I
3 and
understand,
7.
understand, four is kind of where the tone started to shift into what it has become
Yeah,
now.
and 4 was
Because like
definitely yeah, I would agree.
a
Like,
drastic change from three and two, right?
well,
And
like
one,
4
obviously.
was closer to 2 than it is to like anything after that. I would say 4 is kind of like the bridge movie, I guess you would
Yeah.
say. Um, and they brought Paul Walker back, right? Because he had been absent since 2. They did 3, which was totally different. Tokyo Drift. You didn't think there was any more movies after that. Then surprise,
It's
here's a whole bunch of more movies, and you're like, okay,
isn't it
cool. That all take place before Tokyo Drift, and then we don't
yeah,
catch up to Tokyo Drift till
seven.
6.
I want to say it's seven
Oh
because
yeah, 7 is where he actually
Han
goes
because
to. Right. Yeah,
yeah,
7.
because like yeah, man, like that was the weirdest thing. Again, as someone who's never watched the series, that was the weirdest thing to find out is that so technically Tokyo Drift takes place after six or before six or during six.
Like yeah,
We don't know.
sometime in the middle, sometime in between 6 and 7. There's Tokyo Drift. Anyway, that's beside the point. Um, but 4 is kind of like that bridge. It was like kind of weird. I didn't really dig 4. I'm like, it was okay. It just seemed to retread a lot of ground. Brian was a cop, and he's not a cop anymore at the end. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of like the same character arc as the first one, just like instead of being a cop, he's like FBI now. So it's slightly different, but not really that much different. Fast Five is where everything changed. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Thoroughly enjoyed this film. As soon as you like brought Dwayne Johnson on, he brought just like a whole new energy to him that the film, like that the series at the time, really needed. The stunts went up, the ridiculousness of it went up. Now, granted, not as high as it continues to push, but this was the start of like that's some pretty wild shit happening. Um, I remember one of my memories like going to this film and kind of the reason I picked it is it was our good, family friends, Jeff, Karina. We went with them. It was me, my wife again. And then I think it was like Karina's brother-in-law or something who was also there. There was like one other dude there. Don't exactly remember specifically.
It was me.
It was not you. Not even
It was
close.
definitely not
You are,
me.
trust me, you are way too white to be this dude. You were way too
I
white.
think I was also in. I think I was also in Alberta at the time.
Yeah,
So
probably. It definitely wasn't you. It definitely wasn't you.
surprise.
Seeing this is like the first year we've talked since like a long time.
Graduation.
Yeah, a long time. It definitely was not you. But I just remember like the thing about this film, there are some films that become even more enjoyable. Like they're enjoyable at their base, they enjoyable for what they are. There are some films that become even more enjoyable when you watch them with like someone who's loving it as much as you, like your best bud. Like my wife and Karina, I don't know how much they liked it or not. They probably could care less. But me and Jeff, we're like grab. It's like one of those like grabbing each other's arms, like ah, ah, like anytime something crazy would happen, we were just like losing our freaking minds, and it made it so much fun. I just had a blast watching this movie in the theater, and the whole theater was just eating it up, eating it up.
Is
You
that
got
when
to
the
see
action really like exploded, kind of thing,
what's
or
that?
has it just been grad? Is that when the action like really exploded
It's when it took it
into like
definitely
over
when
the
it took
top?
like the next level. It's not like over the top like it is today. Like it's not as ridiculous, but it's like it was a good step to get there. and it was
It's not ripping a minigun off of off of a fighter jet and walking towards
yeah,
someone shooting
yeah,
it.
or like launching yourself off like a bridge to catch someone over. I can't remember exactly all the shit that happens in these films. They get absolutely insane, right? Like where they're
Or going to
racing like in
space.
submarine. Like this next one, they're for sure going to space. It's either space or
No, it's been. I think
dinosaurs. It's
that's,
gotta be.
dude. I think that's been confirmed. Is that they're going to space? Like I
Yeah.
want to say, Ludacris said they're going to space.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. But this one was good. Like it took this one was like the great first step and but without like the extreme ridiculousness. Like sometimes it was a little ridiculous, but it wasn't extreme. Um they had great character moments. Obviously had The Rock versus Vin Diesel and like that was great. And one of the other things that was so fun about this film, everyone was just jacked, like just randomly jacked, except Paul Walker. But like every other dude in this film, like Dwayne Johnson, um, Vin Diesel, and the guy who plays, he was in the first movie, and I don't know what his character's name is, and he hasn't showed up since then, since five. But these guys were all just like freaking just jacked as hell, just ready to roll. It was just I don't know. It was a lot of fun. Um,
Did it give you body goals, man? Did it make you want to get
yeah,
jacked
I'm
as
like,
well?
man, I need to be like The Rock. Like there was seriously this one time they're getting chased by The Rock and the FBI like chase them through like the shanty town, and The Rock literally like blows through one of the shanty town walls. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those films. At the end, they got like two souped up Dodge Chargers, and they're like literally ripped a bank vault out of a wall, and they're driving down the street with it, and it's kind of like hanging off these two wires off these two cars, and they're like ripping it down the road. Like it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Um, the movie itself, obviously, you wouldn't say like, oh, best movie of 2011 hands down, but it was a lot of fun. And when you're watching it with your buddies who are enjoying it just as much as you, it just like it's like hitting the nos, man. Hitting the nos on the fun factor. So that was Fast
Is
Five.
that the first one? Is that the first one Gal Gadot's in
Yeah.
too?
That's the first one they like bring in like the whole like that whole team dynamic starts coming together.
The
Cuz
family.
yeah, like well the fourth no, it was always about family, right? But the fourth one like didn't like they didn't have like Ludacris coming in. Like this movie was the one where they brought everyone from like different movies into like one team, right? Where they became like their
Okay.
crew that kind of operates now all the time. This was the first movie that they brought everyone in for. So no, it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of fun just like freaking out with my bud because there's like some really high intensity stunt work going on and some real tense moments, and yeah, that was great. The
Speaking of
Rock and
freaking
Vin
out,
Diesel being each other. Damn, it was good. It was good. But yeah, speaking of being each other, let's move on to the next third one.
speaking of freaking out with your bud, I'm
Ooh.
assuming Paranormal Activity 3,
Yep.
or did you not get scared about that? Or was that one not as scary?
No. So like mainly the first one was like way scarier, and maybe I'll talk about that for like
Like
our
yeah.
Halloween one, because there was like some weird shit that happened like around that movie that was like freaked us out too, which was like strange. So I'll talk about that like next week.
I only watched that one because of you, man. It's
Yeah,
the only
yeah. There
reason
was like
is
weird
thank
shit, but
thanks, man.
like Paranormal Activity, like they're mostly all the same, and this one is definitely not the best film of 2011.
Anything.
No, for real, like it's not like a great film. The tension is okay, but for me this movie just has like a lot of nostalgia for going with my friends. And me and Chris, we go to a Paranormal Activity every year. At least after three we stopped going. Maybe no, they didn't stop getting made, but we definitely stopped
No, there's
after
dude.
three.
There's up to 6. There's at least 6,
Okay,
if not
we
more.
definitely stopped after three because the quality really declined after that, and the effect kind of wears off, right? At some point,
Well, yeah.
when
You
it's
can
like
only have so many found footage films that are
the
real
same
until.
thing, yeah, yeah. It was pretty much like Paranormal Activity 2 and 3 just added more context to the first Paranormal Activity. So, which was like
Would
okay, but this is when like the girls in the first two films are like like little kids. Little kids.
Yeah.
And they don't actually remember like experiencing the demon or something like that. I don't remember. exactly how it all played out because again, it wasn't that great. But me and my buddy Chris, we go to see this film, and we brought like our friend Crystal with us this time. And no one like she apparently gets like super motion sickness, and we sat like really close, and there's a lot of like shaking and shit because it's like a found
Yeah.
footage kind of film. So like she was not happy by the time we're done, and I felt really terrible because I didn't know. I didn't know she had a problem at all. So here we are watching the thing, screens like shaking everywhere, and she's just like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be sick," and we're having a blast. And then afterward, yeah, you find out that she was not having fun. You're like, "Oh, shouldn't have brought you, I guess. Sorry." That's
Whoops.
my bad. That's my bad. I'm in. That's my bad. That's my bad. Um, but no, so like we had this tradition that we'd go see Paranormal Activity every Halloween, and then I would sit there and just like say random shit because that's kind of what we did in the first one. Again, I'll get into the story a bit more next time, but this one was specifically funny because in this one the demon had a name which was like really weird, and his name was like Toby. So, and I can't remember who named it. Like if it was like the kids who named it or if it was just some random person. I don't recall. Um, but they did use a lot of like great camera work for the tension and stuff. Like I think they put the camera was like on one of like those fans that went back and forth. I can't remember if that okay, that might be the second one. I can't remember anymore. But either way, there was like a camera that'd go back and forth, so you would like see part of the room, then it would go away, then you would see it again. So every time you're like, "Fuck, what's gonna be around? What's gonna be on the other side of that wall?" Or next time it comes back, right? There's like sometimes creepy shit. Um, but no, I had a great time. Paranormal Activity 3. Yeah, Toby. Well, that's what we thought. Toby from The Office, right? That was so like the demon's name was Toby, and which is like
No,
like that immediately
no.
makes the movie not scary and funny at that point because if you're gonna
Like,
name a
why is
demon,
Toby a
why
good
is it
name for a
named
demon?
Toby? Why was it named Toby? I don't know. But Toby was a creeper because all he did was like perv on these two little girls. Like all he did was just like F with these two kids the whole movie. So like the whole time I was just like, Toby, what? I was like, this demon's a perv. I was like, Toby, quit being a creep. Because the kid would be like running, then just hit nothing. Like boom. There's like one scene where she hits like nothing, like stonewalled. And then all of a sudden, like her hair just like gets grabbed like up into a ponytail, and I'm like, Toby, quit being a perv, man. So like when you name your demon Toby, and your whole goal is to go to this film to chirp at it, we had a lot of fun. And the people around us had fun too, I think. Because some people, like at those films, you get like a lot of tension. Kind of like how we were at the first one. And sometimes cracking a few jokes, having a couple laughs, just makes everything all better. Because here's the thing about the theater you can't escape the horror movie in the theater. At home, you can go to a different room, you can get some blankets,
I
you can
mean,
cover your eyes, you can turn the movie off and be like, nope, not today. Not today. When you're in the theater, you have to sit there and let it happen to you. You can't just leave.
nah, bathroom breaks.
You can't just leave. Everyone's gonna be like, look at that coward. You gotta sit there and, for honor's sake, just watch the damn movie.
I'm not a coward. I got a weak bladder, guys. Leave
I
me
just gotta
alone.
pee, and everyone's like, coward, and they like throw shit at you. Like you can't leave a horror. You can't. You can't. You gotta sit through the film. So cracking a
There's
couple
like,
laughs,
there
having
was
a
this
couple
time.
jokes, making fun of Toby, the pervert ghost, was a lot of fun. That's why Paranormal Activity 3 is my best film of 2011. That's how good I'm rating best films of 2011.
See, the problem with leaving theaters during a horror movie too is like there's never really a good time to go, or you think there is,
And that's when it gets you.
because like there was when we were no, when we were watching, we went and saw the remake of Evil Dead, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and I actually ended up standing at the door watching the movie from the hallway leading to the door because as I got up and walked away, stuff started
Yeah,
happening,
yeah.
and I realized, and that's just when everything ramped up in that movie. So I'm like, had to wait for like a moment where it died down. I'm like, okay, ran to the bathroom, ran back, didn't miss
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, for sure.
It's tricky, man.
Oh man. Yeah, no, that was yeah, no, Paranormal Activity 3, not super creepy, mainly because they named the ghost Toby, but we had a good time. Me and Chris. Crystal did not have such a great time though, because motion sickness. But she would have if not for motion sickness. Well, No, it was good. So yeah.
I honestly, I haven't seen past the first one for Paranormal Activity, and do you think the franchise would have been better if every movie was about a different ghost or a different, like it's a different, we found this footage of this different haunting,
Probably. I don't
and
know.
it's more of an anthology
I
series rather
don't know
than
how far
connected?
connected they were after three. One and two worked because like one was the first one, right? So that was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is a whole new experience type thing. Yeah, crazy. By two, you got the pattern figured out. Two, maybe it was two that no, okay, so two the camera also moved, but it was just a security camera that moved. Um, in three, it was definitely like on one of those like fans that just goes those old
and
ass
then
fans that go back and forth. But one and two
I want to
worked.
say,
Three was a little like because then I think at the end there was some weird cult in witches, and there was a whole reason why this demon was attached to this family. Whereas one,
which is a lot
it
less
seemed
frightening.
yeah. Whereas one, it seemed like this demon randomly chose you to just f with you. So that's a scary idea.
Well,
The second one gave a bit more context to it, like, oh no, it's effed with your sister first, but couldn't get to her, so now it's coming to you, so you can go and kill her family, because that's what happened to steal this baby. Then you're like, why is the demon trying to steal the baby? That's weird. And then in three, it kind of gives you the weird family history and like some weird cult shit. And you're like, oh, that's why the demon tried to steal the baby. So it takes away like that randomness factor of it and just like, oh, so if my family doesn't mess around with like witches and like demon cults and shit, I should be fine. Like, so it kind of
well, it's
takes
like
out the
it's
scare
literally
of
like
it.
the part that scared me the most about the first one, it 100% was like when they found that the burnt photo,
Yeah.
like that out of
Oh, in the
every
attic,
other
in the
jump
attic,
scare,
right?
yeah, out of every other jump scare, everything else that happened in that film, that is the one that it's still to this day I thought about. Like we were just talking here, and I thought about that moment, and I got goosebumps. I'm like, oh, jeez, like that still makes me the most uncomfortable out of the entire movie,
That's a weird
which is
thing.
weird
That's a
because
weird thing to be
it's
uncomfortable.
so it's so subtle.
Yeah.
It's so subtle, and again, without the context of the rest, because I don't have the context for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So that's just a weird thing to have happen, but you could totally see it happening,
Yeah.
like happening if you had if you had a haunting, like you could see that being a thing that happens where just a random picture from your past that went up in a fire is suddenly found in your new
Yeah.
home. Like holy crap, holy crap, holy
Yeah.
crap, holy crap! Like it's still, again, that keeps me up at night. That out of everything,
That just freaked you out the most.
it's
You're like, no, no, no.
well, again, man, it's been like, because what, the first one came out 2009,
Yeah. It would have been Halloween 2009.
so it's been 11 years, and I still get uncomfortable when I think about that
Yeah.
scene. Yeah, it stuck with me.
It's like, you're welcome, Ethan. Anytime, buddy.
I
Anytime.
I'm not sleeping tonight. Good night, everybody.
Well, I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Goodbye. Um, but yeah, no, that was those paranormal activity movies are funny. Now I never seen anything after three, so I don't know. I think they moved away from that story and did other things, but obviously none of those movies were anywhere near as successful, as far as I know. So, and I think they had different concepts and different
Again, I know they
ideas
made
that they tried
six.
to do, and it didn't work as well as like the first
I
three.
think
But
five was like five is like Ghost Dimension or something like
yeah, there was
that.
like some weird thing. Like I don't know. And maybe it's still connected to the story. I'm not sure, but I hope like there wasn't anything more to tell. Like the three movies gave you all the context you need for the first one. For the first one to lose, it's kind of like the fear of it, right? The fear factor of it. I think it would have been
Yeah.
more effective to different houses, different people, different situations. But yeah, no, those are my
So
three
that's
best films of 2011. Not necessarily because they were the best films, but I got a lot of just like good memories with my friends and obviously with my future wife with the Muppets. And the Muppets itself was a great movie. Like, if there was, I guess, a movie to put on top, it would probably be Muppets because that was a great movie just in itself and a lot of great memories
oh,
around it.
again.
And Fast Five was pretty good with some great memories. Paranormal Activity 3 was pretty terrible, but I had some great memories. So that's kind of,
And that's the important thing
and,
at the end of the
and,
day.
and like I said, that's like the best part about film because even when a film is terrible or bad, like, and that's kind of actually one of the best things about horror movies because the older horror movies get, like bad ones become hilarious, good ones become
Yep.
great, great ones become like legendary. Like horror actually ages very well. Like there's definitely a benefit to watching old horror. I don't know if you find that, but I definitely find
Oh
that.
yeah.
I definitely find like some of the old ones that were really great, like they just it kind of levels up. Like in the ones that are bad today, you watch them later on and it's hilarious. Like it's just a great time. So horror ages well. Um but no, that's like one of the best parts about film. Like you just get so memories with your friends getting together when you can experience a movie together with the people you care about, whether they're friends, whether they're family, and the memories those
Or
films
foes.
create. Like yeah, like that is the magic of movies, and that's what I miss in this COVID era is being able to get together with all my friends and go to the movies and like and watch movies with each other because that's like
We'll get past
well
it.
yes we will. I'm not saying it's going to happen forever, but that is the best part of the movie going experience, right? When you go watch Endgame, when you go watch Infinity War with a theater full of people, and Thor shows up in Wakanda, or Cap catches Thor's hammer. You know what I mean? Like people like cheered. That
No,
is a
man.
great movie
I just
going
get
experience. Like those are the moments I
man.
love, love.
I just get obnoxious people in my theaters. Like I just get people who talk the entire time. I never really get moments of people cheering and being really excited. I
Well,
get
that
people being
sucks.
like, "I'm just gonna talk like this. Oh yeah, like I'm on my phone because like why am I in a movie if I'm just gonna be playing on my phone?" And it's like,
Those
what are you
people are the
doing?
worst, but most of the time,
That's where
it's
honestly,
pretty great.
I've had I've had more in recent years, like
Yeah,
not entirely, but in recent years, I have had more enjoyable times in either empty film or empty
yeah.
theaters or at home. Like I'll actually purposely try and go to daytime showing because like the theater is empty, so if I want to talk a little bit, I'm not interrupting anybody, but also I can just enjoy it in peace without everyone on their phone and everyone
Well,
talking.
yeah, it depends on the movie. It depends on the audience, right? At the end of the day.
And again,
At the end
it's
of the day.
at least at least where I am now, there's like a lot of people who go to movies are just going there because it's the thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, but like let's actually watch the movie. We're here to watch a movie.
That's why for those big comic
Let's
book ones, man, you gotta go opening night because that's when all like the people who love the same shit, we all go together, and it's a really great time. It's a really great time.
but it's so late and I'm such an old man.
I
One foot in the grave,
know, but
just
it's a lot of fun.
I'm not as young as I used to be, Matt.
It's a good time though. It is truly, truly, truly a good time. And that's what I love about
Oh yeah.
movies. That's kind of how I picked my best films. Just not necessarily the films themselves, but just the memories that were created around the films that I'll hold with me forever, which is pretty great. Honorable mentions, because obviously there was some pretty good films in 2011. Thor was great. Really love Thor. Fish out of water
Yep.
scenario. A story about brothers trying to find the love of their father and deal with each other. It was a really great story. X-Men First Class. Obviously, that was like the best one of like the new set. Like Days of Future Past was pretty
100%.
good, but X-Men First Class was like there was
I
oh
have
man,
thoughts, but you'll
there was so much potential after First Class, right? Like so much
trust
potential.
me.
It sucks that it like drove itself into the ground by the time it got to the
You're
end.
gonna hear all my thoughts when we get to my top
It
picks.
sounds good. Transformers 3, I actually liked the third one. 2 was terrible. 3 had some redeeming quality moments in it, and I was okay with it.
No, not for me.
No,
Not
didn't
for
like
me. It
3.
was still man, I didn't like one until 4, and 4 I only liked because like it was so bad that I liked it. Like
3
that's the only reason I liked 4.
Two things with 3 that I really specifically didn't like. Most of it I dug. I didn't like Patrick Dempsey. He didn't really do it for like
Oh, he was in the movie,
he
wasn't he?
was, and that's how
Oh
forgettable
my
he was.
goodness.
Like he was just not a really great human antagonist. Um, and then what was it? What was the other thing? Oh damn! Now I totally forgot. Oh, how quickly and like just out of the blue the movie ended. Like, listen, I'm totally with like
Mhm.
ending a movie quickly. Like, you need to wrap things up. After like you hit the climax, you got to wrap your story up. You can't go on for another half hour, man, unless you're Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Okay, that's the only exception. But even then, that movie had so many fake endings. You were like, when is this movie over? Because you're trying to make me feel things, and I keep getting pulled back in, and then I want to stay, and then you take me out.
You keep
Like it
making
was
me
just
feel things over again.
exactly, and
My
it wasn't a bad
emotions.
thing. It was just you're keeping making me feeling things, man. Stop it, stop it. Um, but that movie was like so sun, like Optimus, like I don't know, he beat whatever I can't remember Sentinel Prime or something like that. And then like Megatron shows up, it's like, you want to F with me? He's like, yeah, 10 seconds. Like not even, man. Like two moves, Megatron's dead. I was like, well, that was anticlimactic. And then the movie, then he walks onto the bridge, and then like movie over. I was like, what? I mean, okay, but like what? Like it just
So like
they just left a lot of things dangling, and they're just like, and movie over. So I was like, cool.
so like the city, like Chicago got decimated in that
Pretty
movie,
much,
right? Like
yeah.
absolutely destroyed. And this maybe is more of a problem with the fourth movie, but it's kind of a problem with both because in the fourth movie they show a sign of like in
Of
remembrance of
Chicago.
like this
Yeah,
thing what
yeah.
happened, how many lives lost, and like it's 1,300 lives lost.
Which seems inconsequential to right now.
Um, in like September 11th, 3,000 people died from two buildings dropping.
Yeah.
There was multiple buildings dropping. There were people getting like shot at and murdered by the Decepticons, and only half of an entire like in the entire city where like the population of Chicago I
It,
think was like
it's
well
it's
over a
it's
million
huge.
or a
Yeah,
few
it's
million,
big. Chicago's a big city.
and like 1,300 people
That
died.
was it. Yeah, that's a good point.
Like I'm not saying that's not a lot. That's still a lot of life. But like
Seems
in
like
a
a little
like
low.
what?
A little low.
It's very low. 13,000 I could believe.
Yeah.
That would be something to be like, okay, 13,000 people. That's a lot of people. And I went back. I anytime that I question myself to this day, and I've checked it like 4 or 5 times, if not more, to make sure I'm not
Yeah.
crazy. But like I will go back, I will pop in Age of Extinction just to find that shot, just to be like, okay, it still says 1,300. I'm not
I'm not
crazy.
losing my
I'm not
freaking
crazy.
mind.
So it's either they just underestimated in Age of Extinction, or they destroyed way too much of a city
Yes, without killing anybody,
in
apparently.
and you know what an easy way to deal with that is? You know what an easy way to deal with that is just deal with it how the Avengers did in the first Avengers. Don't give a number.
Yeah.
Just have like a lot of mayhem happen and then have people be like, "Yeah, remember when those aliens attacked?" You don't need to say, "Yeah, and X amount of people died." You can just be like,
Well, I think they
"And
did that in
a lot of
then they
people
turned
were
around and did
killed
that
and
in Civil War, though, didn't they? I think there's a kill
no,
count.
I don't think
I
they
think
ever
there's
gave
a
an
kill count
exact.
on that, like when General Ross is like, or Secretary Ross is like talking to them, and it's showing like all the different areas. I think there's a kill count. I have to go back and check, but I feel like there's a kill count
Oh,
for some
now
of
I'm
those.
curious. Well, it's going to be a ludicrously small number as well. It's like
Well,
6 people
yeah,
died, and
and
it's
to be
like,
fair, like the whole alien invasion didn't like leave, like it was only within a couple blocks ultimately. Like it didn't get too far outside
and
that.
wait, the best part is you can watch for people getting killed in Avengers, but you're not going to see
Yeah,
anybody. No one dies in that movie. There's a lot of really close calls, but no one actually dies in
but everyone
Avengers.
dips out. Yeah,
It's kind of great.
everyone dips out.
It's just like it's like all right, and there were a bunch of boo-boos that needed some band-aids and kisses to be fixed, but overall we
We
survived the
did it.
tragedy that was the
Yeah, we did it, guys. Nice work. Nice work. Yeah,
the
no.
the only fatality was when Iron Man's heart stopped beating for like the 5 seconds
Yeah,
there when we weren't
but
sure if he was
don't
dead.
worry. We had a Hulk, so we're all good, guys. We're all good
Yeah.
here. Um,
Who needs a defibrillator? You just
we
got a Hulk
have
yelling at you.
we have a defibrillator. We have a Hulk. Works just as well.
Thor's just
Just not as convenient.
Thor's just sitting there with his hammer, being like, "But I could have done that. I could have fixed him."
That's funny because then in like Endgame, I guess Tony Stark's heart like stops twice in a day, kind of thing. Because like Endgame,
Oh yeah, I
Ant Man
guess
like
so.
pulls the plug on him or whatever, so that he loses. I'm like, oh, so that's like the second time in a day your heart was having some problems. Like that seems inconvenient. Just thinking about that now.
I do I that whole time travel sequence I really enjoy. As much as I don't like their time travel mechanics, I love that sequence.
There was some fun.
It's
There
just
was
such
some
a
fun to be had. Um,
just
yeah, go ahead.
that's it. That's
Oh,
it.
okay, okay.
I'm just
Yeah,
thinking about that time travel sequence and it's just fun.
it was a good time. No, like Transformers 3 again, like not like the best, but it was significantly better than 2. And the only thing that annoyed me, I guess, out of like kind of leads forward to 5 is they like did like the whole bring Cybertron to Earth again. I was like, didn't they do that in 3? But 5 was just a hot mess, so it doesn't really matter. But
I don't remember 5. I actually like actively suppress anything that happened in that movie.
well, 5 they tried to bring Cybertron to Earth again. I was like, I'm pretty sure this was the plot of 3, but okay, whatever. Moving on.
But then it was Unicron the whole
But then Earth is
time.
Unicron, and then they're like, and reboot. We're like, perfect, great timing. Um,
Oh, this is a great cliffhanger ending, guys. Thanks.
Another great movie from 2011, Horrible Bosses. Really, really
Never seen
funny.
it.
What? Are you kidding me right
Yeah.
now? I'm pretty sure it's
No.
on
I'm
Netflix.
dead
Go
serious.
watch it, man. Seriously, out of all the
If
movies
I choose
here,
between that and Darkest Hour,
like, yeah, okay, so Horrible Bosses is a fantastic Halloween one because it's about killing your horrible bosses. So murder, so Halloween. There you go. It's great for October. But no, seriously, man. Jason
ooh,
Bateman, Charlie Day, Jason Sudeikis, um, Jennifer Aniston. I'm trying to remember who plays the bosses. Jennifer Aniston is one.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey is one of them. Yeah, yeah. Back before he was,
Oh no, he was
blacklisted.
always that.
Oh, I'm
But
not saying
back
he
before we knew
wasn't.
about,
I'm just saying back before he was blacklisted from like Hollywood. Um, what's the other guy? Tip of my tongue. Who's the cat who played? He's playing Penguin in the new Batman movie.
oh Colin
Yeah,
Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Yeah. So
Is it bad?
no, the movie's really good.
No, I mean, like, is it bad that I get Jason Sudeikis and Jason Bateman mixed up all the time?
Yes, because I mean they're both very funny, but very different. But no, dude, seriously, dude, and anyone who hasn't watched Horrible Bosses, go watch it because it's hilarious. It's a really great time. 3 normal dudes trying to plot to kill their horrible bosses. It's great. So go check it out. Captain America,
I
obviously,
guess.
2011.
Yep.
That was a solid movie. And Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which was also a very solid movie and arguably probably the best movie out of my list for 2011. Kind of up there with Muppets. Very different reasons, obviously. But I really enjoyed Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's probably my favorite one out of the 3.
See, and I know a lot of people.
Yes, I'm
a
trying
lot
to
of
think.
people
I'm like,
that
wait, which one was Rise again? Rise is the second one. So yes.
No, Rise is the first one.
What? No.
It goes Rise and then Dawn, then War.
Isn't it Dawn, Rise, and War?
No.
Ah,
Rise and then Dawn, then War.
right. Okay, Rise
So
is
Rise is
also
the
good
first
though.
one.
So okay, so Rise. See this
I
this is the problem again of being like, when did that movie come out again? Because I feel like this should be when the second one comes out, not the first one.
well
But okay,
also having titles like Rise and Dawn, which is basically the same
same
thing.
pretty much thing. And then like War, it's like I feel like you guys put. I feel like they
But, like-
put the wrong like titles on the wrong movies. Because when you look and see what the actual movies are about, you're like, I feel like those are in the wrong order. But okay.
As a diehard Planet of the Apes fan, like I grew up watching the old
Yeah.
60s movies and stuff, and then I didn't hate the Mark Wahlberg one. It's not good, but it was fun. It was
It was campy.
silly and
Yeah,
campy, and
yeah.
it's better than most of the sequels to the Planet of the Apes movies in the 60s.
Yes. Agreed.
I loved Rise of the Planet of the
Yeah.
Apes and Dawn and War. Like
The whole trilogy
phenomenal,
is great.
phenomenal way to do it. Like
Great.
one of the most consistent trilogies
Yeah.
throughout.
And Rise,
Like-
okay, so now now that I'm aware which one we're talking about, this is still a really great movie and still deserves to be probably the best film of 2011, right up there with the Muppets. Again, different reasons. But this is the one with James Franco and like the whole beginning of it, which actually, yeah, I'm stuck. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm stuck between 1 and 2, but 3 is really good despite it not really being about war.
No, it's a really good drama.
It
Like, okay,
is.
so
It
like,
is. Huh.
oh no, man, like
Okay, I can't decide right now, but Rise is a fantastic. They're great. They're great. They're all great. They're all the best. He's the best. He's fantastic. Just super. Nothing
he's got
nothing
COVID.
super duper. There's nothing more super duper than Rise of the Planet of the Apes and all the other ones that have words in them with apes. And then my last one for the list, Immortals with Henry Cavill. That was a really fun movie.
Never seen that
I
one
feel
either.
like a lot of people haven't seen it. It is probably because this is before Man of Steel. So one of his earlier
Yep.
forays into like actual Hollywood, into film. Like I said, he was in like Tudors. That's when I first saw him in that series. But this is kind of looks like his big first movie, and he did a really, really good job. And it's definitely worth checking out. Immortals. Those are my 2011 picks. That's it. That's all
That's
I
it. That's all.
got
We're
for
done.
that.
That's the end of the episode. Sorry, we can't talk anymore.
Top 3 Muppets, Fast 5, Paranormal Activity 3, of course, and then all the rest: Thor, X Men, Transformers, Horrible Bosses, Captain America, Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco, and Immortals. Check them out. 2011, pretty solid year. Nothing overly jumped out, but a lot of great memories from 2011. All right, so now that that part's out of the way, we got our scare question of the day coming to us by Ethan R. Hill, and the letter S for scare.
Well, I'm gonna say this question of the day is probably not that
Ah,
scary.
damn it. You disappoint me. We're trying to build up to Halloween, man.
Well, it's a Halloween themed
Okay,
question, but it's just
it's
not
not
that
scary.
scary. Unless you're concerned about excessive weight gain,
I
like
did,
me.
dude. I
Um,
am. That is very scary. One time I looked at a
all right,
peanut,
then
gained 20 pounds, so I'm terrified. True
I
story.
misheard peanut for a second, and I got really confused and scared.
Oh man, you dirty man. This is a dirty episode.
So
This is dirty.
I'm sorry, you said peanut, and I didn't hear it because the internet is weird.
Ah, Mr.
Speaking of
Animated Head
peanuts
over
and
here.
other things,
Sorry, go ahead.
what Matt, what Matt is your favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh, Halloween candy. Hmm.
Yeah, see, it's Halloween themed and it's
I
scary and
guess. Says of weight gain. I like those little mini Wonder Bars, and then I put okay,
oh
no, but that's not it. Then I put them in the freezer, and I freeze them, and I eat them through the next like 5 6 months, and they're fantastic. Like those old Henrys are actually really great frozen too. So anytime you get those little chocolate bars, throw them in the freezer, and then when you bite into them, you get that crunch, and it like breaks
yeah,
off, but then it all slowly like melts in your mouth. It's so good. That is my Halloween treat right there. You're talking Wonder Bars, O Henrys, throw them in the freezer. Those little baby bars, money after that. Money. Trust me, try it. It's worth it. If you break a tooth, it's Ethan's fault. Well, you probably won't, but they're great. They're great. What about yours? That was easy. I didn't think it was. I thought I was gonna have a
oh,
hard time with that, but then I was like, no, no, I know what I'm talking about.
it's tricky for me because there's a few different ones for a few different reasons. Like the mini chocolate bars I love. Probably my favorite out of those ones is the crispy crunch.
Right.
So like they're the ones with like the toffee and like those are just great. They hurt my teeth after a while. I mean,
Fair enough.
most sugary things hurt your teeth after a while.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes.
I'm one of the weirdos who likes candy corn.
Oh,
I actually really enjoy candy corn. I don't know why. I didn't used to, and then I just hit an age where I just friggin' love that stuff. I have no actual answer as to why.
you guys can't see my face right now, but I'm absolutely disgusted. I hate candy corn.
I know I'm in the minority here.
Hate
I know
candy corn.
a lot of people don't like it, but
Hate candy corn.
I enjoy it, and I won't take that away from anybody else if they dislike it.
Halloween zombie.
But like
Yeah.
the one that I always associate with Halloween the most, and I have no idea why, it's just a bunch of childhood memories and just like weird nostalgia, is the Popeye candy cigarettes.
Yeah, man. Okay, okay, I'm with you.
I have
Yep.
no clue
Uh-huh.
why.
Uh-huh.
That or then Double Bubble just popped into my mind, like the pink square
Yeah, they
bubble
have the
gum
little
that you
comic
always
book on the
with
inside.
the
What's
comics
up,
in them.
man? Little
Yeah,
comic guy.
but for some reason, no pop. When I think about Halloween, I think about Halloween candy. It's not candy corn. It's not the chocolates. The bags of chips weird me out because I never got those growing up. But apparently, a bunch of people got bags of chips for
Yeah,
Halloween.
that was a thing. Yeah. They come in the variety
But
pack, easy to hand out, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, but those
Raisins were a
little
big
packs
thing.
of candy cigarettes.
Why did everyone hate raisins?
I
Me
loved the
too. I was
raisins.
hyped. I was like, hell yeah, raisins. They're like, raisins aren't candy. I'm like, I don't care. I love raisins. Anyway, no,
Yeah,
those cigarettes,
it's
those. Yeah.
well, yeah, as a kid, you always pretended to smoke even though you had no idea what you were doing. You're like, I just was told this was bad in
And
school.
it was totally,
Ha, ha.
yeah, it was totally terrible for you. They barely told us it was bad in school. Nowadays, all y'all kids got so much information what's terrible for you. Like, we're not gonna do any of that stuff except all the drugs we want.
But they still
People are
do.
crazy, yeah.
That's right. It's like
Except, but like smoking back then was like, nah, kids, it's cool, man. Have this play cigarette. And we're like, nice. I'm Popeye.
he didn't even smoke cigarettes. He smoked a pipe.
Exactly. Or they were like,
He didn't even
well,
smoke cigarettes.
weren't there like Flintstone
Well, how can we
brand
market this to kids?
Weren't there like Flintstone branded ones too? Like sometimes the box characters were different. Like the cigarette sticks were all the same, but
No, I remember just Popeyes. I have no idea.
yeah, it might have been.
I remember Flintstones had these weird ice cream treats called Push
Yep,
Pops.
I know those. My auntie and uncle
Like,
had
I
them in
remember
their
those.
freezer all the time. Root beer, man,
And they
money.
don't exist anywhere. Yeah,
Money.
but they don't exist
No,
anymore.
all the
and it makes
best
me
stuff
so mad 'cause they were
doesn't
so
exist.
good.
And you know the biggest
Matt,
crime
it's-
about the Flintstone push pops is they weren't anything like smoking. I get getting rid of the smoking sticks, but come on, man.
No, the smoking sticks are still around.
I have
They still
not
sell
seen
them.
them. I'm gonna go get some this year. I'm gonna be like,
I just
shit,
saw
man,
them.
I'm an 8-year-old smoking again. What's going on?
Dude, I just
man?
saw them at Walmart. Like they were just at Walmart. Like what the heck?
Okay, so we can keep the
But, like-
smoking sticks for children, but we're gonna get rid of the Flintstone ice cream pops that were delicious. Come on, guys. Come on.
Actually, not a Halloween candy. Like, do you remember the gummies? Like in the packs that you normally get, like fruit roll-ups, all that kind of stuff. But like, do you remember the So Delicious ones? They were like little pop bottles.
Vaguely. I don't think I got
Those
those.
are ones
I
that
never got a lot of like. We always got
We
like the
would get them
boring
on a-
cereal and kind of like the boring treats like granola bars. We never got a lot of like the gushers and like all the other cool kid stuff that kids
It
got.
depended on how mom. It depended on how mom and dad felt
Yeah,
during the week.
my mom was
It
like,
just
my
really
mom was like a
depended.
nurse, so she was like healthy food, but then it was also like McDonald's, and I was like, hell yeah! So like,
Dude, that
like
was
I wasn't
my
skinny
biggest
by any
triumph.
means, like not even close, man. I was just a little chunker. I still am, just a little chunker over.
We all are, Matt. We all are.
Me specifically more so than
My-
probably most.
My biggest triumph when I moved away to college was being able to buy Lucky Charms and having no one to tell me that I
Right,
couldn't buy Lucky
like
Charms.
when I moved out, I bought so many
It was the
things
greatest-
out that I couldn't eat before. Yeah.
Oh, and mom said no to this, and mom said no to that, and suddenly you're at home eating all this stuff, feeling sick, and you're like, oh, this is why mom said no.
This one
But
time,
you're gonna do it again anyway.
This one time, my aunt and uncle had like a bunch of blue whales, like a container of like those, like you know what I'm talking about, like the blue whales, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And
Yeah.
like before bed, I like hid them under my bed, before it's time to go to sleep, I hid them under my bed, and then when everyone was sleeping, I like pulled them out, and I just ate like a shitload of one, just like half the container. Just
Matt
like
get sick?
just chunking away on like blue whales, playing Pokemon on my Game Boy with the little light that you had to hook up, and then drain the crap of your battery,
Yeah.
so you had like 20 minutes max. You know what I'm talking about. Good times there, hiding under the
100%.
blankets and just trying to play it, eating like tons of blue whales. The next day, I was so sick. I had to stay home from school. I was like throwing up blue whales. Like I was like sick. And then I think I had a blue
I'm
whale.
assuming they figured you out pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, instantly. When you start like
There was
barfing up blue
like there was
whales,
no
like,
concern
hey,
about Matt throwing up
supper
blue.
wasn't blue. Like, so,
Well, we better take you to the hospital. This is an ER
or
situation.
maybe it was the blue whales. So so yeah, I got caught like pretty quick. But then seriously, I probably ate blue whales last year. That was the first time since I was like probably 9 that I ate blue whales because I couldn't even look at them
Still
after
felt
that. Like
sick.
it's one of those things where it's like, if you like get like really drunk off a certain type of booze, like you can't even smell it. It just makes you feel sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah,
But
Matt, I
blue
would know
whales.
about that. I would know about that because what was it, my 19th birthday, and you guys gave me every kind of booze?
I feel like that
And
was
guess
I
what?
feel like that was everyone else's fault and not mine. I was responsible
Not
for Alex's 19th birthday where I was like, "Here, have all these booze, buddy." And a bunch
all
of
I know is you
Crown.
were there, Matt, and all I know is you were there, and I drank every type of booze, and I to this day have trouble drinking anything
Guilty
because I
by
just get sick.
association. That is it. It was
Oh,
not my fault. I'm pretty sure I only got there
it
after
was.
you were already all wasted. Who knows?
No, you were there. You were there.
He's like,
I
"No,
don't remember how
I'm
long you
pretty
were there,
sure
but
you
you
were
were
there at the beginning, pouring me booze all the
Matt.
time." Like, oh.
Matt, I don't remember past shot number 3, and there was 15 in an hour and a half. So,
I'm not taking any guilt other than guilt by
no,
association.
no credit
Yeah, I
for
will
it.
not take credit for it.
Oh,
It was
fine.
probably Ben. Ben and Drew.
Ben wasn't even there. No,
Damn
Ben
it! Who
wasn't
was
there.
there then?
Everyone was there, man. I swear.
It was just me pouring you booze. There you go, buddy. Drink up. No one else came. Just Matt.
No,
It wasn't me.
it was just
Guilty by
me. It was just
association.
me alone. It was just me alone pouring shot after. No, that was college. That was.
Everyone was there, man. Just like cutouts and shit. Oh man. Well, that was a great question of the day,
That's
Ethan.
the real. That's the real answer. Is Matt's favorite Halloween candy is booze. That's what it is.
Ah, ultimately, that turned out to be a very scary question. So nice job.
Right? You're welcome.
Very scary. So that's it. That's gonna be the end of part 1. We did my 2011 picks. We did a scare question brought to you by Ethan. Next episode, which will be part 2, coming out next week, we'll be doing Ethan's top picks, and I got a scare question just for him and just for you. So let us know, what is your best picks of 2011? What films really did it for you? Or what films do you have like some really great memories around? And what's your favorite Halloween candy treat? Let us know down in the comment section below. Before we leave, really quickly, Ethan, my brother, my man, the dude who apparently filled so full of booze he can't even look at it anymore. Where can these good people find you?
You guys can find me at Instagram, Ethan R. Hill. I am currently doing a vinyl challenge, which is basically every day I post a different vinyl that fits into certain parameters of things. So, like certain things with each day. So if you want to see my vinyl collection, feel free to follow me there and check me out there. I have my YouTube channel, just Ethan R. Hill on YouTube. I am going to be having to upload one of my videos to Vimeo because it got taken down after being on YouTube for 4
Oh yeah,
years
that
for
one. Yeah, yeah.
no discernible reason. So that's fun. But yeah, and then otherwise you can check out my film Damned Rights at damnedrights.com, and you can follow the link to buy it on realhouse.com digitally because we can't sell physical copies right now because COVID. So that's fun.
If you buy a physical copy, I will lick each one personally and send it to you.
I will sneeze
Don't
inside.
worry about it
It's
though. 100% kosher.
But yeah, that's where they can find me. Where can they
Oh
find you,
man,
Matt?
they don't want to find me. They don't want to find me. You can follow me on Twitter at storytellers4, the number 4, life. Okay? Follow me on Twitter at storytellers. Oh no, it's not for life, it's for L. I can't remember the Twitter tag.
Yeah, because you
I
can't,
can't
put
put
life in the
life
whole
because
thing.
it's too full. So storytellers, the number 4, capital L. So it stands for Storytellers for Life. Speaking of Storytellers for Life, that's my YouTube channel. You can follow me over there. Obviously, Storytellers for Life. It's still in construction right now. We're gonna be launching hopefully like middle end November, December. The time frame's always changing. just because, life, it takes time to do things and life likes to get in the way. But if you want to get over there, get over there. It's all about, helping people, storytellers, reignite their dreams, live their purpose, tell their stories. And we're doing that by digging into inspiration and motivational content. We're going to be looking at different storytelling skills, and it's going to be all about building community that just makes each one of us better and help us attain our purpose and what we're trying to do in life. So that's kind of what it's all about. So if you're all about storytelling, come on by Storytellers for Life, subscribe, and there will be content there soon. Other than that, you can find our podcast again here, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a couple other ones, and obviously right here on YouTube. That's it for us. We will see you guys later. This has been a Feast of Films, episode 17, part 1. We'll see you next week for part 2. I'm Matt Black.
I'm Ethan R. Hill.
And we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everybody.
So long. Toodaloo. I stole your line.
That's fine. It's cool. And it's time to put on makeup.
And that's it. Okay.